Do you know about glutathione? You can't live without it. It's a naturally occurring ingredient in your body. But guess what? It starts to decrease around the age of 20. You need glutathione. There are over 165,000 studies on glutathione at PubMed. It detoxes your cells. And we know there are toxins everywhere. In fact, studies have shown glutathione may remove mercury from your brain, helping prevent Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's. Check it out at swishforlife.com. You just put a small 2 caps in your mouth, swish it for about 3 minutes. Then you can swallow it or spit it out. Studies show that this is in your bloodstream within 90 seconds. It's better than an IV. That'll cost you about $250, and it's broken down. But when you swish with it, it is in your body in 90 seconds in its totality. Glutathione, you need it to live. Swishforlife.com. Swishforlife.com.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Live Up to Freedom. And I am self-producing today, and you'll see me do way more of this than usual. So just pardon me for that. We are live on worldviewtube.com, WorldviewTube, Rumble and X, and WorldviewTube app. If you have not installed the app, I strongly suggest you do. It is for free. Just go to your app store and look for WorldviewTube. Install it, turn on the notification. You'll get notifications as we go live, especially when breaking news happens and the special coverages that you most likely won't find anywhere else. We are also live on X America News on X, and we are live on my platforms on Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, and Substack. And I think that is it. Today's program is a special one. I will be on air for 2 hours instead of 1 because a lot is going on, and I'm not going to rush myself through it. I have to take care of it, and graciously, Brown House also signed off on me being on air 2 hours instead of 1 today on YouTube. So buckle up. Put in your comments. As always, I will be looking that way at my monitor. I will grab all your questions, your comments, agreement and disagreements. However, I will say this, warning. If your faith in Donald Trump and his administration is higher than your faith in Christ, if your love of your political party is greater than your love for America, today's show is absolutely not a good fit for you. I'm fine with you watching, but I don't think your emotions can handle what's about to come. If you like to disagree with me on my comments, on my information, on my reporting today, you're more than welcome to do that on comment sections, and I will address them. But 1, keep it clean. 2, if you're in too thick of a denial bubble, I don't think I'm going to take much of my time on the show to address your cover-up. That being said, today is Monday, November 10, 2025. And this morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, on my Substack, a new article came out. Free to public, I strongly suggest you read it. I think it's by far one of my shortest Substacks. And I started it with mentioning this is a short one because at this point I don't have anything left to explain. I've done my job. And today it is up to you to either stand up and fight or sit while our country is being sold to the highest bidder. It is okay if you don't agree with what I say, but I really think I've done my job. Trump administration, United States of government, and United States in general made history today. What is that history? For first time ever, a Syrian president has received an official invitation from U.S. government to come to America, to go to Capitol Hill, to meet with our lawmakers, and then head over to White House to sit down for either a dinner or a quick tea or, I don't know, bourbon, whatever it is they do there. And that is the history that's being made today. Syria as an ancient civilization has existed for thousands of years. However, Syria as a country was established or made by many other who draw maps. Syria was made, for nicer phrasing, was established as a country in April 17, 1946. And today, in November 10, 2025, for first time ever, its president is, here, by invitation of the government. Now, in August, I remember, if you go back, you watch my show, you'll see. In August, I came on my show pretty upset. I also joined Brannon House Live and said, what is al-Shara, also known as Julani, depending on which time of his life you want to check out? What is he doing in New York? A lot of people came on comment section saying, chill, calm down. It's a UN event. We have no control over it. We had to give him a visa. Though incorrect, very incorrect. What are you going to say today? This is not a UN event. He didn't show up for some summit. He was directly invited. He received an invitation, a red carpet, to come to United States of America as a Syrian president, which, let me put an insert here. By the way, today's show, I will be covering a lot, meaning I'm going to go back, forth, parentheses, side note, main note. So that's why I'm doing it 2 hours instead of 1. Let me remind you, in December of 2024, when supposedly Assad regime was toppled. Now, why do I say supposedly? Because al-Shara, going with Julani back then, Julani and his terrorist Islamic Jihadist militia have been going at this situation of civil war. Why air quotes? Because this was not a civil war. This was never about civil war. This was always about Assad, the father or the son. This was about Assad regime versus Julani's jihadist militia. No civil war happening. Though you were fed the narrative of civil war of Syria, civil war of Syria, this was not a civil war. This was Julani who came with by order of Al-Qaeda to become the Syrian chapter of Al-Qaeda, became the opposition to Assad. Now, in no shape or form am I defending Assad, the father or the son, nor am I denying their dictatorship, their monstrous way of running the country. I am not doing that. I am trying to tell you how far the lies were out. Now, let's say the civil war ended up with Julani toppling Assad. I do remember the day that they conquered Damascus, and I remember seeing conservatives. I saw Christians, I saw pastors saying, praise the Lord, Damascus has been freed. And I'm like, no, Damascus has fallen. Words matter. Every time I sit down to write, every time I sit down to prepare for my show, every time I go on somebody else's show, I do my very best with my very limited English vocabulary to choose my words carefully, because there is a huge difference between Damascus has been freed or Damascus has fallen. Huge difference. For anyone that day, back in December of 2024, who had the impression, idea, or understanding that Julani and his barbaric soldiers of Islam have freed the people of Syria, or they freed Damascus from Assad, either uneducated on the topic, absolutely delusional, or worse, Islamists themselves. No one in their right mind with understanding would ever think this is freeing or liberating. No. It went from one bad guy to the next terrible guy. Now, I understand in America we have been infected with the disease of always settling and picking between the lesser evil. With that mindset, I guess for some people, Julani was lesser of an evil than Assad. Why? Because Assad was on the news. Because everybody constantly heard about Assad and what he's doing. But Julani wasn't. However, here what Julani was. I invite you to read my very short bullet pointed, down to point, no extra fluff Substack from this morning. He was a hunted man by U.S. government. $10 million bounty on his head when he toppled Assad's regime. But that isn't information I have noticed most Americans don't go to check who's wanted or who has a bounty on their head. None of that. It's not a normal thing. They don't, like every morning they check their Facebook and Instagram and X and all of that, but they don't go check who wants a bounty. And our media wasn't plastering his face everywhere, or his name for that matter. So, in spare moment of, yay, Assad toppled, this Julani guy, whomever he is, took power. However, from there on, he is constantly referred to as the transitional government, transitional military, transitional president. But then somehow within last week, literally within last week, he's officially the president. Now, what happened to he's going to be transitioning until people of Syria make their decision? What happened to that? Oh, wait, we say that a story every time. And by we, I specifically mean America. Remember how we were going to keep the peace in Iraq until Iraqis decide what they want to do? Remember that happened in Afghanistan as well, right? Right. Now it's supposedly happening in Syria. We decided for people of Syria that Julani will be your president, either you like it or not, regardless of the fact that somehow, again, as I mentioned on my Substack, I want you, anybody who thinks in any shape or form Julani deserves a second chance, show me your proof as to why, because I will show you my proof as to why he shouldn't receive a second chance. He shouldn't even receive the first chance. He shouldn't be removed from the bounty list or wanted list. His entire military that is now legitimized as Syrian military should have never been lifted from the terrorist list. Or you didn't, if you missed it, Trump administration did remove Julani's terrorist group from the terrorist list. They did that. Somewhere in June. In May, Trump visited Middle East and met with Julani. Then sanctions were lifted. Then his militia jihadists were removed from terrorist list. Then he was given a visa to come to New York. Today, he's an official guest. We love that, right? If last week, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, now specifically, let me narrow this down. I am talking to anyone who is a broadcaster. Anyone with a talk show, with a podcast, big or small, doesn't matter. If last Tuesday and last Wednesday, until today, on your program, in any shape or form, you were crying or yelling or were outraged over what happened in New York City with Mamdani, and today you're quietly sitting there reporting on all things except who's in DC, you are a disgrace. Your selective outrage is exactly what's driving our country and our people into the slaughterhouse. I have watched all day. My show wouldn't start until 4 p.m. Eastern Time, but my eyes are on the reports. Where is it? Where is the outrage today? Now I'm going to step it into the general population of America. If your Facebook and your Instagram and your X and your TikTok and all of your platforms have been concentrating on how New York City forgot, how Mamdani is a terrible Muslim Shia who's going to do this, and today and yesterday and Friday you have not said anything about who's in DC, my fellow American, you are part of unresolvable problems in America. Because your selective outrage is also adding to the problem. I have taken so many deep breaths before coming on air to try to be rational and be logical and not scream too much, at least for sake of my microphone. That's where my outrage is. Now we're going to dissect it. We're going to open it up. And as I said, I'm going to look at your comments. Please do tell me, because I'm going to read a couple of comments from my pages to address some of the issues. But if you agree with the other side that there is nothing wrong with what's happening in DC today, do tell me why. But I am up for my first ad break. So let's go take one ad break. When we come back, I'm going to check out all the comments and then we're going to continue from there.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. I want to thank you for all your support at wvwfoundation.com that helps make possible pushing out 24/7 content for free. Without your support, we'd have to put it all behind a paywall. But thanks to you and your support through our foundation, we're able to push it out for free as a broadcast service and broadcast ministry of WVW Foundation. Please consider going there and setting up an automatic monthly contribution, or go there and make an occasional contribution. If you prefer to support us through the mail, you'll find our mailing address there at wvwfoundation.com. You can also call and make your contribution over the phone by calling 901-825-0652. That's 901-825-0652. Again, all these details are available at wvwfoundation.com. Thank you for your support as we try to help people around the world understand the times through the lens of a Christian worldview.
Welcome back to Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for staying with me until now. If you are still here, at least that means you are, well, either with me or curious enough to hear my thoughts. Let me see. Zelda says many people who cannot face the truth actually prefer to be deceived. Thank you for boldly speaking out. You're welcome. And yes, but here's the thing, Zelda. I am normally okay with people who cannot face the truth to prefer to be deceived. But today, Monday, those who are allowing the comfort of denial, the comfort of lying to themselves or being deceived by others, they are going to jeopardize my life and my future. And for that, I have to stand up. I have to call everybody out today. And I don't say my life and my future based on the fact that I'm an ex-Muslim, based on the fact that I have 12 bounties. No, none of that. I'm saying that based on the fact that I am an American who loves my God-given freedoms. Those who are okay with what's happening in DC, those who are covering up for what's happening in DC, those who even like what's happening in DC are jeopardizing my freedoms. Because the way this administration is going is what? Selectively selling piece by piece of our freedoms to our enemies under the banner of peace. Now let's go there. I want to actually read a couple of interesting yet disturbing comments on my Facebook page. I posted yesterday, I want to say, or sometime then, that al-Julani has arrived to DC. And that's a funny thing. You have an appointment to go to Capitol Hill and White House on Monday. Why is he arriving on Saturday? Why? He's getting a special tour? Yes, he was. Now, again, due to self-producing, I don't have any B-rolls, but you can find them easily. There are videos out there. al-Julani and his right-hand man are playing basketball with some of our military members. And you just watch this video, you're like, oh, how? How? On that comment of mine talking about DC, there are the following comments. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, easier to stab them if they turn on you. Number one, I don't know when, who, where started this myth of keep your friends closer, keep your friends close, enemies closer. It's a myth. Use your logic. When you keep your enemies closer so you can stab them if they turn on you, You do realize the distance is equally the same opportunity for both ends, right? If you believe keeping your enemies closer gives you a better opportunity to stab them, have you ever thought about the fact that they might be, I don't know, 1/10 of a second faster than you? Because they're also closer. So by the time your friends try to get to you, the enemy who's closer already killed you. How's that for a rationality of keep your friend close, keep your enemies closer? Do you really do it in life? Do you do it in life? If somebody comes and robs your house, they're arrested, they go serve their prison time, they come out. Do you go reach out to them and say, hey, why don't you become my neighbor? Do you do that? No. No, you don't. Moving on. Next one, this one is one of my favorites. Relax. Trump knows exactly what he's doing. Relax? Bro, a convicted jihadist with blood of innocent Christians, Druzes, Syrians, and American soldiers on his hand is walking around DC with a red carpet and an invitation. You want me to relax? I don't know what kind of chill pill you're on, but I would say you probably need a week off of it. That same relaxed person follows by saying it's called negotiations. I can say the name of this comment because it's publicly on my Facebook page, Mark Smith. It's called negotiation. So let me ask you this, Mark. How far will you negotiate? When your city is conquered by Islam, are you negotiating your faith in Christ or are you negotiating your daughter? How about your wife or mother? Is that how far we're negotiating? Or have you lost all values, biblical and American, that you're willing to sit and hide behind Trump knows what he's doing? This is called negotiation. What happened to America does not negotiate with terrorists? What happened to that? Because I know these comments are coming from MAGA Trump supporters. Therefore, you're Republicans, you're conservatives, you love the Constitution, you're all about America. So tell me that. Where did your value of we do not negotiate with terrorists go? Where did that go? What is Trump negotiating with al-Sharia? Now let's step to the next part. Tell me, what is he negotiating? Al-Sharia signing the Abrahamic Accord? How is that a peace deal? How does that affect me and you here in America? Because legitimizing the guy, giving him actual invitation and a special tour of DC and White House does affect me and you. Did I mention on top of this, Syria is also getting their embassy reopened in DC, or did I forget to say that? Yeah, I kind of forgot to say that. How far are we willing to negotiate today? Is this the America, is this the conservative Christian society that's going to bow faster than anyone and negotiate their biblical values because they prefer peace? You're going to turn the other chick until, well, they chop off your head or they rape your daughter in front of you? Or do you think that's all made up? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of you during Obama administration were pulling your hair out. Your biblical values and American Judeo-Christian values were the top priority of your life. When Obama invited Muslim Brotherhood to White House, you guys were on fire. But today you trust Trump that he knows what he's doing. Why? What makes you think Trump knows what he's doing? Tell me, show me the credential that Trump holds when it comes to Islam, Jihad, and Sharia. Because I show you mine, and I can guarantee you, the guy has no idea what he's doing. He thinks he's dealing with a bunch of same people as himself, arrogant and greedy. He has no idea the devotion and commitment people like al-Julani have towards their 72 versions in Allah's heaven. But you show me the credential Trump holds that gives you such a comfort that he knows what he's doing, and this is all part of a bigger plan. I agree, this is all part of a bigger plan. But it's not the plan that you think it is. Trump's plan is not, clearly America first faded away, because he has spent most of his 10 months of stepping into 11 months in Middle East. Physically, mentally, or via phone, he has made more improvement to Middle East and Middle Eastern's life than he has here to America, right? How's that 50 years house mortgages working out for you? Delightful? Sorry, I gotta check on the comments. Dawn says, I'm sick to my stomach and disgusted by what is happening in DC today. I feel that President Trump has totally sold America out. I agree with you 100%. Thank you for speaking the truth. You're welcome. It is absolute, as you all know, it is my mission. No other choice when it comes to this one. And I'm glad you came to that realization, Dawn. Yes. Yes. When you step on, again, mentioned on my morning Substack, short one, open to public, so read it. When it comes to the stepping on Constitution, law, values, then you sold your country. You sold your country. And again, what made Julani eligible? Okay, he wants to be the Syrian president. Good for him. Good for him. What made him such an ally of us? I will tell you what. Not us, Trump. He's a great ally to Trump right now. But what we see is him considered a great ally, great enough to have access to Capitol Hill, to have access to White House, and a special tour in D.C. Where is he going next? Bullet pointing again, just like I did in my Substack. Until December 2024, this guy is wanted. Crimes committed against humanity. Fighting against American soldiers in Iraq. Remind you, this man fought against our soldiers in Iraq. Our men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice and gave their life in Iraq are definitely rolling in their graves today. Because their blood is on Julani's hand, either directly or indirectly. I broke it down on my Substack. He wasn't just a soldier fighting in Iraq, no. He was behind a lot of operation. He gave a lot of orders on a lot of bombs to go off. Built a lot of those bombs. Now, let's start with our faith, my fellow Christians. Even in Christianity, when you commit a sin, small or big, before you ask for forgiveness, you repent, and then you ask for forgiveness. Unless I missed it, I have not heard Shara even saying anything about the crimes he has committed and still commits. Because, mind you, the killing of Druzes and Christians have not stopped in Syria. I put a post on my page this morning. More than 100 people have gone missing or been kidnapped since the January of 2025. The power come to power of Julani. So how did you all come to forgive him? How did you all come to forgive the man who killed your sisters and brothers in Christ? How did you come to forgive the man who ordered the killing of our soldiers in Iraq without him even repenting or asking for forgiveness? Guess what? If you have come to forgive him, you're a better person than I am. But I don't think that's what it is. I don't think that's what it is. He wasn't made to even say anything. It is so ridiculously absurd that they stand next to him. By they, I mean Trump, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth. Your soldiers were killed by Julani. I had hopes for you. Side note. They stand next to this guy. They shake his hand. They take pictures with him. Trump constantly calls him a good-looking guy. Nobody even says, hey, you want to address what you did? You want to pretend like it's a former jihadi, right? Because a lot of conservative places refer to him as a former Al-Qaeda and former what? I have never seen him denounce them, walk away from them, not help them, say anything bad about him. How did you make him a former Al-Qaeda guy? Former ISIS soldier? When did he become former? When? Now, with all that being said, how does one go from wanted with $10 million bounty on him to the guy invited to DC and welcomed with open arms without any of that? How? Just because Trump felt like this is a better chess move? People, stop looking at yourself as pawns. Every time somebody comments on my page of, oh, well, this is 3D chess, 10D chess, 2750D chess, you're admitting that you see yourself as nothing but a bunch of pawns. My life is not a chess game. If you consider yours a chess game, good for you. Mine isn't. I don't care how good of it, and I bet you I will beat him in 5 moves in chess, for the record. But if you want to let somebody play with your life and you consider yourself nothing but a bunch of chess pieces, I'm not. Just because Trump decided that Julani is a better move for him than somebody else, you want to trust him? When next attack comes, you don't get to complain. You don't get to say anything. You get to sit home, stay quiet, and watch the blood of innocents on the ground again while you blame yourself for being so ridiculously involved in a cult that you can't even see it when it's staring you in the eye. We got to go to our next ad break. I will check on your comments when we come back. Well, hello everybody. It's Annie Cyrus. Welcome to my art studio where all the magic happens. This is the station for painting, and that is the station for all the resin art I do. If you want to check out my art, all you gotta do is go to lutfstudio.com. But I'm sure, for at least I hope, I'll see you at lutfstudio.com. Welcome back to Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for staying with me until now, if you have stayed with me until now. And yes, one of the 2 ways you can support my work, whomever is left by end of today's show, if you want to support what I do, lutfstudio.com. That's lutfstudio.com. Use promo code MISSION since our pre-Christmas sale is over. You can use promo code MISSION for 10% off. Also, if you like to place a custom order, you can do that right on the left side of the menu on my Etsy channel, Etsy store. You'll see that says place a custom order. Below that also says contact a shop owner. You can write me a message, tell me what it is you're looking for. We'll figure it out. Or if you see something you already like, just pick it up. I still have Christmas decorations and Christmas gifts available. lutfstudio.com. That's lutfstudio.com. Promo code MISSION. You can negotiate with evil. Barnabas says, he is a fool. Yes, and that's another thing. When people say, oh, this is part of negotiation, I'm like, why? Who is there a limit? Is there a time? And again, if it wasn't so if it wasn't so obvious, again, we've been here with Obama in May of 2025, this May, which is linked inside my Today Substack. I released a Substack saying when Trump played Obama. I was literally sipping on my coffee and laughing at the backlash because it was so insulting that how dare you compare Trump to Obama? Well, today I did the same thing on my Substack again because it is. Guess what? Obama invited Muslim Brotherhood to the White House. Trump invited Al-Qaeda to the White House. It's the same thing. Now, you can put a lipstick on a pig, but a pig is a pig. You can call him the Syrian president. You can call him a good-looking guy. You can put him in a suit. But the Al-Qaeda operator is the Al-Qaeda operator. And guess what? I can even go as far as saying Obama invited Muslim Brotherhood to the White House, that to this day, to this moment as we speak, Muslim Brotherhood is not a designated terrorist group. Why? That's a different topic for a different show. But they're not. So what Obama did wasn't a felony. On my Substack from this morning, I pointed out that it is a felony when you advocate financially, economically, for a previously designated terrorist, or if you arrange travel to US for them. Trump did both. Both al-Shura, aka al-Julani, the bounty was on Julani. This is the same person. Just because you change your name doesn't mean, that's what they do. $10 million was on Julani directly as an individual, and then his now Syrian military, HTS, was a designated terrorist group. They just lifted them. They just removed them. So come at me. What Obama did was not illegal. It was just disgraceful. What Trump did today is both. And Obama, now, those who voted for him, knew it or not, it wasn't secret. It was on the ballot, on the paper, on the ads, on everything was Barack Hussein Obama. Barack Hussein Obama. What did you expect him to do? Go bring Pope to the White House? He took his oath on the Quran. Donald Trump stood there and promised America first. Donald Trump ran his entire 2016 with videos of we have an Islam problem, we have a Muslim problem, a handful of moderate Muslim. The rest of them want to kill us with very, very bad methods. Oh yeah, their crime ain't even the same. Never did I think I'm going to say Obama's crime was less than somebody else's, but here we are today. And again, you can stay in your bubble. You can stay in your comfort and deny it all. You can even be offended. Thankfully, I still have the First Amendment where I get to be offensive and you get to be offended and vice versa. But it doesn't change the truth. It doesn't change the fact that this was all coordinated. Again, there is not a shred of evidence as HTS making any changes to their method of operation. However, Trump administration goes with, okay, we'll no longer consider you a terrorist group. Julani never faced trial. I concluded on my Substack this morning that the only way, there was one way, the only way to deal with Julani was he needed to be arrested and face consequences. Look at the consequences. What consequences? And on that note, I want to read another comment because this is where it gets scary. Marcus Smith continues with, you have no idea what's arranged behind the scene. Trust me, if Trump let this blank coming to the White House, it's because Ahmed al-Shura did not want to face the consequences of not showing up. Mark, you want to show me the consequences? What consequences? What consequences exactly? You mean the consequences of doing photo ops with Trump? All of their sanctions being lifted? Followed by all of their international sanctions lifted, just in case if you missed my reporting, thanks to Trump administration sending a letter to UN. UN lifted all sanctions on Syria last week as well, and then UK followed. This one is all on Trump administration. So what consequences? Shake his hand, sanctions lifted first from US, then UN, then Europe. Their debt were all paid off by Saudi Arabia, so he got a clean slate. Then He got an invitation making his... Do you realize the legitimization we just gave him by making history as the first ever Syrian president to come to D.C., to White House and Capitol Hill? What are you talking about? Mark, first of all, I don't trust you. You know why? Because you don't have logic. You're a cult member. I don't trust cult members. Been there, done that? No, thank you. So don't ask me to trust you. When you put your faith in Trump, who has absolutely inflicted no pain on Islamists whatsoever, and if you want to bring up the B-2s that he dropped on Iran's nuclear facilities, we all know now they are admitting that it didn't even make a dent. So, and after 12 days of Israel pretty much shredding the regime, we just show up and we're the hero. Come on. Other than that, what consequences? He has given Hamas everything Hamas has asked for. I don't care how much you want to sit there and sugarcoat it. He got them a ceasefire. He got them all of their hostages, alive or not, and the prisoners and the jihadists, everybody released, while Israelis are still hunting after the last 4. Trump did that too. Right? He's still sending funding to Taliban. He made al-Shara a legitimate Syrian president. He saved Khamenei's life. So you want to tell me exactly what was Ahmad scared of that he showed up? Get a grip, people. Get a grip. Thankfully, you're becoming minority. More and more Americans are waking up to exactly what is happening under the Trump administration when it comes to Islamization. Thankfully. But one day you, by yourself, you will come to realize how badly you played a role in all the damages America is facing when it comes to Islamization. As I said, you were all outraged last week. All outraged. With Mamdani winning. Right? Not today. Mountain Ash says Trump has betrayed America. Yes. I said it on my Substack. And here's the thing. I wasn't. I was hoping I'm wrong. In May, when I started warning everybody on my Substack, on my program, on my interviews, that watch out, heads up. I was hoping I was wrong, but guess I wasn't. When it comes to Islam, Islamization, and Sharia, it is very hard for me to miss anything. I don't involve emotions with it, therefore I don't get the cloud of trust this guy and trust that guy and that guy. I just don't. And when it comes to Islam and dealing with Islamists, I don't cut anybody a break. Especially someone who's on their second term with the platform of the first time, being aware of the dangers that he is playing with now. That's even harder. How do you give this guy a break? You don't. Unless you're delusional. Unless, as I started this show, your faith in him is greater than your faith in Jesus Christ. Your love for him is greater than your love for America. Then yeah, you're part of the cult. Yes, Lisa, he has been a huge disappointment. Annie, so many people are ignorant to the evil of Islam. I have known for many years and have never been able to convince people because they fell for the lie that they are peaceful people. I will agree with you. I do. But here's the thing. When it comes to Julani, aka al-Shara, if you don't mind, I'm just going to call him al-Shara for the fact that it is his birth, and al-Shara, the roots of it is Sharia. So it just fits him better. With al-Shara, we don't even have that excuse. Because people who fall for the radical versus moderate consider him a radical anyways. He's a jihadist. Even those who are, we have Muslims like Mamdani who will say there are those radicals, right? Julani goes under that category. So again, comes to today, nobody has the excuse to not be outraged. He checked every box that everyone in America agrees that it's a danger. It's a no-no. It's the enemy. The fact that some people are like, keep your friend close, keep your enemies closer, they are already admitting that he is an enemy. Okay. Patrick Wood, Technocracy News, wrote the book, The Final Betrayal. He reveals the people behind Trump. That is actually on my list. I need to read that book. I love Patrick Wood. The answer is trust in Jesus our Savior. This world is not our home. Amen. Yes. Yes. Sherry, can you rewrite that? Is he meeting with Amanda? Do you mean Mamdani? I have no idea who that is. If you could rephrase that question for me, I'll answer it. The strong delusion is happening. Hardly anyone is speaking out. I'm here. Don't worry. I won't be speaking out. I'll be screaming out. Because that one, no. No. Donald J. Trump and the Dems are on the same team. Let's not be fooled. Some Arab billionaires financed by the US and Europe pay and blackmail Western players into introducing Islamic rule. John, I generally agree with what you just said. Let me do this. I have promised to keep track and not miss the ad breaks just because I'm self-producing. I don't want to take advantage of that. Let's go take our next ad break. When we come back, John, I want to talk about what you said because you got a pretty good point there. I'll be right back.
We have a big announcement, folks. It's called Bella Melt. In the first week, you lost 3 pounds on this, right?
That is correct.
Your GLP-1 is a natural hormone that's in every single one of our bodies. And your GLP-1 lets you know if you're full. It's a satiety hormone. So when your GLP is working properly, it does help suppress your appetite as well as reduce those cravings. So what it's going to do best is it's going to reduce your sugar cravings or any other cravings you have in your body. It's going to suppress that appetite. But where Melissa got the most benefit, I think over the last week, was the L-carnitine. The L-carnitine tells your mitochondria, this is where you make, we talked about it before, this is where you produce energy in your cells. It actually tells those mitochondria to burn fat for fuel.
MelissaHouseBG.com just now introducing for the first time Bella Melt with GLP-1 Fast Action.
Welcome back to Live Up to Freedom. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you joining the conversation on the comment sections. They help. Make sure any of the ads I run here, I'm not very good at picking them because normally Thomas does it, but make sure to check him out if it is an item or a product or something that you can use. That way you can support the network that is supporting people like me by giving us a platform. Not only, forget about 2 hours. Forget it. Other networks won't even stream my show because I am too unfiltered. I am too controversial, apparently telling the truth nowadays, especially if it's something that's you're picking on Trump, then you're absolutely boycotted. Let's go back to John. You said Dems and Donald Trump are on the same thing. I disagree with that. Donald Trump is in nobody's team. Donald Trump is in Donald Trump's team. First time around, he was America. He was. Now, there are so many different scenarios I can put on the table here. I can't prove one versus other. They're just possibilities, and I don't need to do it. I don't want to do it. Point is, the version of Trump we got in 2025, winning the 2024, is nowhere near the original version of Trump. This Trump plays in one league and one league only, and that is Trump League. He is playing many of the Democrats' game, but not because he's on the same team as them. Trump has become his own team, and that's why I said betraying us, stepping on our values, breaking the law, none of that matters anymore. It's him and his agenda. And his agenda, unfortunately, is not about making America great again. It's not about America first. None of that. It's just his agenda. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Mamdani, got you. I don't know, Shara. I don't know. And here's an interesting part. There is no, normally when this kind of stuff happen, Now, there's a public, especially on the White House, you can find a public timing. What time he's at the Capitol, what time he's at the White House, what time he's going. So I did not find any schedule for him. Is he meeting with Mamdani, being al-Shura? I don't know. I do highly think he will try, but I don't know if he will, especially because Mamdani is so busy right now hanging out with Bernie Sanders. I don't know if Mamdani would even have time. Oh yeah, let me try to read this one. Thank God Republicans won the shutdown. Healthcare premiums are now set to double and triple for more than 20 million Americans. I'm beyond thrilled. This is what conservatives live for. Lauren, I'm sensing a bit of a sarcasm there. Am I? Let me know if I'm reading, because I'm so sarcastic in my head to survive today. I'm reading that pretty, especially with the quotation mark around one. So I'm picking up on a little bit of sarcasm, possibly. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Back to it. I want to try to conclude the first hour on Julani. So, bottom line is, if you want to defend Trump, again, that's your right. You can do it. But I want you all to try to remember, because I know at the same time human nature is forgetting. You know, we forget things, especially if it was something that we played a role in that ended up being a negative feedback. Trump administration has allowed Julani and his murderer jihadist militia grow so fast in less than a year. I repeat, it's been technically 10 months. 10 months. In 10 months, Julani in Syria and outside of Syria has gained too much power. And I want you to remember again, Julani, at the end of the day, is an al-Qaeda soldier. Okay? Now he has full access in. As I said, Syria will have an embassy or reopen their embassy. And here's one thing you need to think about. Put me aside. I'm just some Islamophobe with bad experiences as a child, yada, 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 whatever you always say. Think for yourself. Assad was the terrible dictator. However, Assad did not have a militia, jihadist group. Did he fund certain acts of jihad? Absolutely. Did he kill his own people? Yes, he did. However, he didn't have a resume as an awarded jihadist by all alphabet soup of jihadists out there. And America stood strong against him. From UN sanctions to US sanctions to Europe sanctions, to no visits allowed. But then somehow we're giving this new guy who has a worse resume, clearly more evil than Assad, more blunt and daring than Assad. Ask yourself why. Why? We were not in conflict in Syria. So for anyone who says Trump is looking for peace, we were not in conflict with Syria. So what peace? Nobody was in conflict with Syria. It was Bashar versus Assad. Bashar wins, Assad runs. End of story. So what peace? That's your first scenario that fails to prove itself. What peace? There was no conflict between Syria and filling the gap. There wasn't. There wasn't. There was an internal fight over one dictator, one secular dictator versus an Islamist jihadist, which seems like we want to deny any involvement. So supposedly al-Julani, because that time his name was Julani, so I'm referring to his time, al-Julani and his team won the battle. We're pretending we had nothing to do with it. Pick on my words. After 12 years, just suddenly, within 5 hours, Julani found the key to the problem and solved it. Okay, I was born yesterday, plus 41 years. We had nothing to do with it. Julani just did it. So what peace are we looking for? What was the peace Trump was seeking? Peace between Syria and who? So that's your first failed cover-up for Trump's action. Second, Trump is trying to scare al-Sharia of consequences, so he stays in his own lane. Okay? Second failed cover-up. I don't try to scare anybody ever. I don't have kids to discipline. I got some good, well-behaved cats, except the one who jumps on the table. But one thing I do know for a fact is if you want to have the upper hand and teach the new guy a lesson, you don't run, get on a plane, go meet him, shake his hand, and lift the sanctions. You got that wrong. If this is showing power to the new guy to stay in his own lane, you got the formula wrong. I'm guessing you also approved of how Biden pulled from Afghanistan. Reverse. So that's not the case either. So I'll ask you again. Think. Why? Who would benefit? And who would receive the harm? Short term or long term? I will most likely do a follow-up tomorrow on my show after I get the videos and if there's a press release, if there's a press conference, if there's anything about it, I'll come back tomorrow to talk about that. But we need to switch gears. Oh, you thought this was the worst part of my show? No. We got to switch gears. There's a lot of talk suddenly again in last week or two about Iran. I don't know if you've been catching him. I don't know if you've been hearing him. But, Iran's coming back up on the conversation. Trump solely by himself, I shouldn't say by himself, Trump and his talking heads like Rubio and Hexet still tell you that we demolished Iran's nuclear facility and nuclear weapons and uranium and everything. All of it. And they're so busy being scared of us, they will never think about anything ever again. That's literally a tad bit sarcastically over-exaggerated what you hear from Trump administration. But then on the other hand, you hear the Iranian-linked hacker groups, Iranian-linked kidnapping group, Iranian-linked assassination groups. You hear those from federal courts, from FBI, from Homeland Security. Iran's coming back. It's boiling up again. And I want to draw your attention to that. I genuinely don't think anyone, at least in America, has talked about Iran, the mullahs, their nuclear weapons, their nuclear programs, their actions and reactions, them funding proxies more than I have. However, I want you to pay attention to something else. Every time Iran is suddenly boiling up in America, it's when American government and intelligence are waiting for something to happen. And they're building Iran up to be the fall guy. Right now, I will talk about this in a minute. Iran has zero, and I repeat, zero interest in doing anything in or to Americans and America. Their sole focus right now is to retaliate and make up and take revenge on Israel for the 12 Days War. That's all there is to it. Now, funny enough, another thing I want to say, the level of denial, right? I put a post up saying New York Times is now saying because there's a dead ending and deadlock on Iran nuclear negotiations and talks, the chances of Iran and Israel going at it is likely. Somebody comments, another person who's in full denial on my Facebook comments like, New York Times gets it a lot of time. That is not the point. That's not the point. But we'll let him have the point. The reason Iran's name is circulating around again, it's because Iran's going to be the fall guy, whatever happens next. Does that upset me? No, I don't care. Not that anybody's going to face any consequences anyways. America does not retaliate anymore. And if we do, we go after the wrong guys, right? September 11 happens, we go to Iraq. And then we go to Afghanistan. And then we reward Saudi Arabia. But I want you to know, on this day, if you have a pen and a paper, if you can add it to your phone, or I can just remind you later because I do that regularly, whatever happens next, it's coming from all the enabling by Trump administration and Trump himself directly outside of being a president of Qatar, Syria, and Turkey. Remember those names, Qatar, Syria, and Turkey. If you missed it, 3 days ago, 2 people were arrested in New Jersey, right? 2 of them. One of them, American-born son of an Iranian-American poem. So he was born in America to an Iranian father who is an American citizen. You know, he sits there, romantically writes poems. He's a poet. And then the second guy, who was picked up at the airport about to fly out of U.S. to go to Turkey on his way from Turkey to Syria. Turkish person, the second person is Turkish. They were both picked up with ties, or allegedly ties to ISIS plot of Boston Marathon bombing style of attack. I don't know if you heard that anywhere else, but it is on my Substack, it is on my Facebook. I reported it the day they were arrested. But it didn't get much coverage because this kind of thing don't get much coverage anymore because we want to pretend that, you know, Turkey, Syria, no, they're great people, they're our allies. So that's where this Iran thing is coming from. Consequences don't exist. I personally, you know, since the 12 Days War, I took it personal. I have been upset. I am still upset. I am very furious that the best opportunity, not just for my people in Iran, but for the whole world to be freed of these mullahs, was stopped by Trump. And from there on, this was late June. So we got July, August, September, October, now in November, 5 months later, Trump's still just yapping on, not lifting a finger to put any pressure on the regime of Iran. The regime of Iran has rebuilt their stuff, their missiles, their military, their generals, everybody they lost, they already recruited. Yesterday it was reported that just in calendar year of 2025, Islamic Republic of Iran has funded Hezbollah in Lebanon of $1 billion. $1 billion, just Hezbollah. The very Hezbollah that our tax dollar paid $230 million to disarm, and they are not disarmed. And we could have used that money ourselves because I don't know about your areas, but inflation is pretty much skyrocketing. So right now, we are busy building Syria, apparently make Syria great again, through al-Shura. We are becoming quickly buddies with Turkey. Now, again, you don't believe me, that's all right. Just go do your own research because I might be making things up since I never do that. We're becoming buddies with Turkey. Of course, we had Erdogan in the White House. First, we were thinking about it. Then we decided, okay, fine, we're going to start selling them F-35. And then Turkey came out and said, we're sending heavy weapons to Syria. No matter how much you try to twist this, the circle comes right back. You got the Syria, Turkey, Qatar, Syria, Turkey, Qatar, Syria, Turkey, Qatar. Now, yes, Saudi Arabia paid all of Syrian debts for a reason, because they were very afraid that Iran's going to get a foothold in Syria. And Saudi Arabia has been fighting so hard not to lose Syria to Iran again, because they did. During Assad the Son, they lost Syria to Iran. So Saudi Arabia is keeping Syria under control. Now, however, is Saudi Arabia our ally? You cannot be that naive. You just cannot be. It's impossible. I'll take you back to September 11th. And before that. And after that. Anyhow, Turkey, back to it. We're friends again. We're selling them weapons. They're sending. They're not selling. They're sending weapons to Syria, and then we turn around and have Syrian president in America. And as you know, even though we've been reporting heavily on Qatar, Qatar is untouchable. People, Qatar is untouchable. The tiny itsy bitsy under the pen on the map, Qatar, is untouchable. Because they own the entire Trump family. Not just Trump or Kushner, they own the entire Trump family. And now, reports are coming out that it seems like Saudi Arabia is getting part of that ownership too. Saudi Arabia is investing with Jared Kushner. From there, we're going to have Jared Kushner investment again, like the 666 Fifth Avenue of New York. Now, Jared Kushner and all ties to him are going to be owned by Saudi Arabia. And every country I'm naming, number one, somebody, I guess rightfully so, criticized me of, I am tired of you shoving Israel down my throat on every show. Don't watch. That was my response. And this is my response to everybody. If me talking about Israel and its safety bothers you, then don't watch. I cover plenty America. I am more America first than MAGA. That's that. But Turkey, Syria, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, all four countries, one way or another, one day or another, a year ago or two, they have verbalized, they have mentioned loudly and clearly that they want to wipe Israel off the map. They want to wipe Israel off the map. Now, of course, we have those four, and then we can add the usual players. You got Iran, Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas. And our administration, to be specific, Trump administration, I will turn and look at your comments in a minute. Let me finish this thought. Trump administration, by far, has enabled and empowered 6 of the strongest top enemies of Israel in a matter of 10 months. You want me to believe Trump administration is Israel's strongest ally? How am I supposed to believe that? Through words or through actions? I'm not going to say my fellow Americans, because a lot of Americans, they don't care what happens to Israel for lack of knowledge, right? My people will perish for lack of knowledge because they rejected knowledge. I'm not going to say my fellow Americans. I will say my fellow Christians. When are you going to realize that we are being judged by God? When you support, when you look the other way, when you calmly don't bother knowing, looking at facts, connecting the dots, and still saying nothing, and supporting an administration that is literally turning against Israel, enabling Israel's enemies, top 6 enemies, from funding them, to supporting them, to legitimizing them, to saving their supreme leader's life. How do you do it? How do you not realize that as Christians, we shall protect the Holy Land? We shall. We have to. And I'm not talking to those who think Israel is not the real Israel, Jews aren't the real Jews, Candace Owens types. I'm talking to those of you who I know the truth. How do you go on and look the other way? How do you not say anything? How do you continue and expect your life here in America to get better? And let me be very clear. I am not talking about us going fighting for Israel. No. No. I'm talking about when Trump administration does these ridiculous show-off, band-aid ceasefires minutes before Israel is about to win the war. How do you cheer that? How do you call that peace? How do you not see that this isn't about peace? This is about power. I will promote this ahead of time. Tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, my Substack will come out, and that one is for paid subscribers. And I will take a moment to encourage you to become a paid subscriber on my Substack. I promise you it is worth your money, and it really supports me. We still need 26 subscribers by end of this month for me to keep going, if you can. But tomorrow is for paid subscribers, for the fact that I think it's one of the uniquest point of views you'll see. And I'm addressing World War III, just a teaser. And I do ask this very question. How can you look at the truth, look at the facts, look at the headlines, look at the speeches, hear the speeches, and still not realize that you are supporting an administration that on the book, on the paper, in your imagination, in your belief and false hope is supposed to be this great administration because it was once? How can you not see how power has taken over its leader to turn against Israel? I'll repeat, the Hamas war that has started on October 7th. To jump in and try to do this everlasting peace. I was shocked by the number of Americans. I was shocked by the number of Christians cheering it. And I will go back to my biggest problem, the 12 Days War. And I know for a fact it's going to resume. Remember, in the morning, early morning, as I'm drinking my coffee, gathering my thoughts, and trying to figure out what to report on today, my TV is on Islamic Republic of Iran's broadcasting news channel. I am listening to their own words. Now, I've noticed a lot of Americans, no disrespect, but you guys are all just like a bunch of machos, right? Nobody can touch you because you're so tough. America is so tough, though many countries are making fun of America because, well, we got the blabbermouth in the office talking a lot, doing nada. I have put out information, and the response is laughter by many of, oh, you crack me up, and the regime of Iran is nothing, and okay, fine. You take it that way. But the Israeli intelligence are reporting what I'm reporting days after, but they're still reporting. So what are you telling me? The IDF is putting out fake information and lying about what they just discovered about Iran's newest, missiles, that if Iran decide to come back to that war, they can send up to 2,000 missiles at a time, and Iron Dome is supposed to deal with it. That's their information, not mine. Come out of your denial, come out of your shell. And then I posted something else. I should have brought it up so I don't have to keep you waiting while I scroll to find it. But I actually put, not on Substack, because my Substackers, you guys are awesome. On my Facebook, I actually said, read this before, like a line before the post. I said, read this with your logic, not your ego. Head of Iran's Islamic Coalition Party said, America keeps threatening, but what can it actually do? Question mark. It is in total chaos. He claimed the U.S. hasn't achieved anything against Iran in nearly 47 years. Of course, a lot of comments and reactions are, ha 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 ha, funny, they forgot the B2s. But in reality, Let me reread this. America keeps threatening, but what can it actually do? It is in total chaos. Is that a true assessment? We are in complete chaos. People, look what happened in New York. Look at LA. Look at Oregon. Look at Chicago. Look, we are in complete chaos. We are completely divided. And the second line is as accurate as possible. I published a Substack on this last Monday on the 46th year anniversary of the hostage crisis in Iran, when they stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran 46 years ago. It says, he claims the U.S. hasn't achieved anything against Iran in nearly 47 years. That is accurate. To the point. That was what my Substack last week was about. From Carter to Trump 2.0, nothing. It is repeat of the same thing. Either apologizing, trying to be friends, lifting sanctions, giving them billions, saving their supreme leader's life. That is what America does. So I want to tell my fellow Americans, everybody who thinks we're so tough and everybody's so scared of us, look around you. Look around you. Trump 2.0 is not the original Trump we had. He's not. These peace deals supposedly you think are being signed, they're not peace deals. They benefit them one way or another. And most of them have failed. Some of them were fake. We have not completed this step 1, or they called it phase 1 of 20 phases of Hamas-Israel deal yet. Phase 1 of 20 phases is still up in the air after a month. What are you celebrating? Though in last 4 weeks, Israel could have finished Hamas. We all knew Hamas is down, literally down to numbers. And Hezbollah couldn't send rescue because Hezbollah was trying to fight its own corner. 1 month. Now, I'm not saying Hamas would disappear and be done forever. No, but this war was about to end. Like Obama, like Biden, Trump came in and did the same thing. Buying time for them. Them being Hamas. Hamas being the enemy. Sworn enemy of Israel. I almost missed my next ad break. Let's go take our next ad break. When we come back, I promise I'll read your comments.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Is the government tracking you? Do they have access to all your data? Well, if you go to worldviewtalk.com, you'll find out about a cell phone company that, well, does not store your data. They don't do that. This is what they're known for. They don't store your data. You have privacy. You're not being tracked. That's why a lot of folks are turning to worldviewtalk.com. You'll find their prices are very competitive. All the details are there at worldviewtalk.com. Again, worldviewtalk.com. Oh, while you're there, not only do they have cell phones that aren't tracking you, you can find out about how to get a satellite phone. Should the whole system go down and you want to communicate with a family member or a loved one, you might want to have a satellite phone. Or how about their solar generators? They have great solar generators. Check them all out right now. Worldviewtalk.com. Worldviewtalk.com.
Welcome back to Live Up to Freedom. Thank you so much for putting up with me for almost hour 20 minutes. That's tough. Okay, comments. I promised. Barnabas on Substack says, there is no peace until the Prince of Peace rule. Thank you. Yes. But how many people are paying attention to that? How many people even care for the phrasing that's being used by White House? No. Now, I will tell you this. If these phrasings like everlasting peace and peace president and all of that was used by, I don't know, let's say Biden or Kamala, whew, the level of belief in Jesus in conservatives would be skyrocketing. And that is another part of, if you want to be selectively outraged, be my guest. But don't sit there and be a selective Christian. I mean, for your own sake. I'll do my own thing. Israel maintains a lookout post to protect, as much as possible, the Druzes, the Christians, and other minorities. Yes, Zelda, I know they're doing that. But here's a problem. I wasn't planning to go there, but let's go there, since I do have a little bit of time. One of the reasons Shara is here, al-Shara is here in DC, one of three reasons, there are three agendas, but one of them is because Syria is going to move forward with making friends with Israel. What is Bibi doing? What are you? Why would you go make friends with al-Shara? Why? So they can twist your arm that you can't even protect Druzes? At least right now you can do that. See, that is the problem. The Israeli government should, when I said this the first time, in 2020 is when the first time I said to stop answering the phone. When American presidents, whichever one of them, when they call you, just ignore the call. Do what is best for you and your people. I'm not going to sit here and say America first and then not tell Bibi or anyone who's in power in Israel first. Do your thing. We're not helping you. So what do you care? What are you worried about? Trump is not going to sell you any more weapons? That's okay. That's okay. It's better to not buy weapons from America than watch the American president literally enable and empower and fund all of your enemies. It's not like Israel is dealing with one. And that's where it gets amazing. Why would Trump administration go specifically and pick the enemies? Why? Again, who benefits? Who benefits from this? But yes, ma'am, I know they are trying to, especially Druzes. They're helping a lot of Druzes. But that's not going to change. Even if they make friends, you really think al-Shara is going to stop his jihadists killing Christians and Druzes in Syria? Yeah, right. So many fools today. I don't think it's fools. I really think it is the comfort. The fear has taken over. The fear has taken over. It's not being a fool. They know the truth. They're hoping by being appeasing. Somehow, that's the thing. Remember the whole story of red-green axis? It all started where it all started. It's the fear. It's the weakness. Too many weak people. Too many people, I've said this many times, the people are so afraid of dying. Now, different reasons. Some are afraid of dying because they haven't reached the comfort of knowing they go to heaven. Some are afraid of dying because they don't know what's on the other side. Some are afraid of dying because they have so deeply attached themselves to this world that they don't want to lose it. Anyways, the fear of death. And it's a human society thing. It's not Americans, Europeans, whatever. It's the fear of death has always been a factor in human society and human behavior. So it's that fear. If we don't provoke them, if we don't poke at them, if we look the other way, if we consider them friends or allies, they may not kill us, they may not rape us, they may not attack us. That's what the weakness. I think it's more than fools. Because honestly, there is too much information for people, for anybody to say, I didn't know. I don't know. I just don't buy it anymore. Unless they were under a rock or something. Good to know, Zelda. Zelda says, many of us in Israel see through the charade. Thank you for speaking out. Pretending to help Israel while setting up a defeat is nothing new. Exactly. And that's the thing. I know it is not popular nobody likes to hear most of my thoughts, which is okay. I'll say them anyways. But a lot of people, I was one of the people. When I started spotting the pattern early on in April, That's when, if you go back, you notice that early April is when my Substack I went at it. I opened the Substack account a while ago, but the seriousness of saying, come at me and, hate me, that's okay, but I got to do what I got to do, is early or mid-April. When I started seeing the pattern, I was a little rattled myself. I didn't think, not about a Republican necessarily, but I didn't think, because as you know, I walked away from Republican Party 9 years ago and became independent. So, but to think that these would happen on the Trump administration by Trump's direct orders, right? And again, for anybody who's like, I don't think Trump understands the dangers of Islam and jihad. No, that excuse burned the moment in 2016 Trump was walking around on cameras talking about dangers of Islam. He lied one time. Which one was it? Did he lie back then saying he's aware of Islam? Did he lie back then saying we have an Islam problem? Or is he lying today? I don't know. You pick. But a liar is a liar. It doesn't matter which term he lied. So, yeah, I was pretty rattled myself, but the good thing is I don't want to stay rattled too long. I take a minute, take a deep breath. Okay, we got it. This is the guy who's gonna pretty much advance the Islamization even faster and further than Obama did, which is where I feel betrayed. I do. I feel betrayed by Trump and his administration because I thought Obama was it. I genuinely thought Hussein Obama did the biggest push and help to Islam and Islamization. I really thought this is it. Look, Obama stabilized the Islamic regime of Iran worse than anyone until Trump saved Khamenei's life. Beat him there too. Like literally if I would keep a scorecard between Obama versus Trump, and again, Hussein Obama, you can expect the guy to do it, right? If you recall early on, if you followed me long enough, I pretty much became blacklisted by Paramount Pictures Studio when I ran my mouth on Obama on second term when he won. My 2015 video was about Obama saying what Obama said about Islam. So it was an expected scenario. And I thought that's it. I figured unless we elect another Muslim president, there will be no more big push and help. Then came May of this year, came June, July, August, September, October, November, on, and I'm like, oh wait, actually looks like there could be a Republican America First Christian president who'll do much more for Islam than Obama ever could in matter of 10 months. I am afraid, pardon me, I'm afraid how much more he's going to give them by next year. Because we need to think about that too. I know a lot of Middle Eastern Christians in America, we talk, who are very scared. Are they going to deport us? I don't know why I'm coughing now. I did not hold back anything. So they're afraid more Muslims are going to come to this country. Their life is are they going to be deported? Are they going to be handed over? Are they going to be found and assassinated? There is literally, that's a smaller portion that you don't hear about. We have this community of, us talking to each other. And they're like, what's going to happen by next year? What else is he going to do? Giving Syria their embassy back, giving Qatar a military base in America. What else? And biggest concern right now, and I know a lot of people are going to say, no, not going to happen. But the biggest concern right now is he's almost done settling with Turkey, giving them everything they need. Egypt is set to go. Syria is pretty much after today. They're set to go. Is he going to actually try to make a deal with Iran? Is he? Because so far he's still pushing for it. He's still, though he sits there and says, what we did with our B2s crippled them so much they're begging for a deal. The reality is Trump administration is begging Iran for a deal. They are. Because Trump knows for fact, which another part of, well, if you know for a fact, why didn't you let Bibi finish him? But that's another story for another time probably. But Trump knows for a fact that as long as Iran's regime is there, his delusional, everlasting peace isn't going to happen. So is he desperate enough for that peace prize? Because remember, we're in November, so December, he has got less than 3 months for his name to be submitted for 2026. And may Lord have mercy on all of us and our souls if Trump makes a deal with Iran. Any kind of deal that's close to Syria or Turkey or Egypt. Because I don't, again, if you want to know exactly what Iran has done to us, not just our country, us as Americans, read my Substack from last Monday. 46, I believe it's from 1979 to Trump 2.0. To Trump 47. I broke it down. And that is where I'm a little concerned. Now, if it happens, then it happens, and I'll do what I always do. And I receive all the hate and the name calling and all of that, no problem. But pay attention and stay tuned, because he's wrapping up with all these enemies, right? Under whatever disguise. But he has not faced the biggest challenge yet. And though he's going to keep lying about it, we all know who stands where. He's going to try to push for a deal with Iran. And I want to know, how are you going to cover that up? I mean, I guess the same way you're doing for Julani today. I really thought today social media and news outlets are going to be blowing up over this. Maybe it's right. Maybe those who say America has become very comfortably numb to anything that is against them, maybe that's true. Maybe America has lost its spirit. Maybe America is kind of fine with whatever happens. What comes next will come next. As long as they get to have their Sunday football and, I don't know, what else? 4th of July, I guess. Come on. I don't know. I don't know. I guess we're good with whatever happened. If we're good with what happened today, we're good with whatever happens with Iran, right? Just trying to oh gosh, really I don't even know how to say your handle. Iran fought ISIS in Syria. Where are you getting your information? I know you said you're Palestinian, Syrian, Christian, but where are you getting your information that Iran fought ISIS in Syria? Because I'd like to know. Oh, Iran is not the problem. Israel aids ISIS. This has been proven time and time again. Okay. You're the person I warned at the beginning of this broadcast that I will not waste my time on. If as a Palestinian, Syrian Christian, you think Iran is not the problem, Israel is the problem, why don't you do me a favor? Actually, stop watching my show. Go grab your Bible. Do me a favor. Read your Bible, right? If I don't. Yeah, just read the Bible. Where do you come? Like, where do you forget that? Where you read them or see them? Like, how do you wrap your head? How can anybody wrap their head around the idea of Iran's regime is not a problem in the Middle East? Like, how far is your head up? You know where for you? I mean, if it was that far up, you would at least smell it. Seriously? Like, I get a lot of excuses I hear. Like, I can put up with, there are there are radicals who use Quran to rape women. I can argue that. But the moment you say Iran is not the problem, there is no argument left, because you're an idiot. Especially because you are in Middle East. You're Palestinian, Syrian, Christian, and you're telling me Iran is not a problem. You're an idiot. And here I was trying to be polite today. I was trying so hard not to be mean today. Just read your comment and then read it again and then go look in the mirror. Because you seem to be part of the problem too. Anyways, let me not get too mean or too distracted. I need to take one more ad break, guys. I'm going to take that ad break and then we're going to come back and we're going to conclude. We need to touch on Pakistan and Afghanistan before I wrap up today's show. I know it was too much. I know it might have been overwhelming, but it had to happen. Anyhow, don't go anywhere. If you don't have a stupid comments, please continue commenting. Any questions, any last comments? I do have one question I will address at the very end. I saw your question, but I figured it's better to answer it at the end. I'll be right back, guys. Well, hello everybody. It's Annie Cyrus. Welcome to my art studio where all the magic happens. This is the station for painting, and that is the station for all the resin art I do. If you want to check out my art, all you gotta do is go to lutfstudio.com. But I'm sure for this, I hope I'll see you at lutfstudio.com. Welcome back to Live Up to Freedom, our very last segment today. I still need a minute. Some comments are so dumb. And then it gets dumber when this person calls me a far right wing. Like, where were you when I'm sitting here criticizing Trump and Republicans and like, anyhow, I guess that's the price to pay when, you're on internet, right? There are plenty of, there's a saying, I don't know if you've heard it, I don't even know who I heard it from. It's like, there was a time when we thought a lot of people are stupid because there is not enough access to information until internet arrived. And then we realize lack of information isn't the reason people are stupid. It's by choice that they're stupid. Anyhow, okay. Let's touch on Pakistan real quick. No, let me conclude on Iran before I touch on Pakistan real quick. So, Iran has, not based on my information, their own information, Israeli information, some coming from our own government, very hugely concerned is the agency and some European countries, especially those who did the snapback on sanctions, that not only there was no pushback in the progress of nuclear bomb after we dropped those B2s, they safely moved over 400 kilograms of enriched uranium, which by now the agency is saying there were 60% enriched. Anyhow, agency is very concerned, Europe is very concerned, Israel is very concerned. Trump is not concerned because his B2s apparently did the job, but the rest of the world are realizing that the B2s didn't do the job. Bottom line is, pretty much nothing has changed as far as nuclear of Iran goes, as far as their facilities go. The new facility on Kolang Mountain, which I have a Substack on that, if you want to get more information, free to public. It's pretty much unreachable. Forget about B2 or B7. It can be 3D. It's just not going to affect it. They're building, they're progressing, and we're doing nothing about it except a bunch of talking. United States of America is reaching out, trying to get them back on the negotiation table, and Khamenei is standing saying no. I literally heard that from him. His Friday morning speech was, our issues with America, which that's the honest thing he's saying, it's the truth. Our problem with America is not over technology. It's the difference of ideology. There will be no negotiation directly or indirectly. And if they want to come get us. That was his recent Friday prayer speech. That's for the Supreme Leader. That's where we're at. Now, how far Trump is going to try to get them to negotiate, or are they going to attack Israel first, or is Israel going to resume and ceasefire? All of the above possible. But I would prefer if there was no negotiation with Iran. You all know why. If you don't know why, check out my Substack. Bunch of information there for you to know why Iran is a problem that should not be negotiated with. Moving on to Pakistan real quick. I have been one of the very few voices out here that has repeatedly said that rightfully we should worry about the regime of Iran, the mullahs of Iran, reaching a nuclear weapon. However, we should also stop Pakistan from having them. Now they have them, we got to be very careful because it's Pakistan. It's Pakistan. It's a country, newly born country, that has not in its history, it doesn't have one single prime minister that could finish their term. They were either assassinated or they were arrested, convicted, and put in prison for corruption. That is the government you're dealing with. Now, they just added an amendment to their constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan has put the control of its nuclear weapons of estimated 170 nuclear weapons ready to go to launch. They put the power and control of it in the hands of their military. Prime Minister or President, or no. The military of Pakistan now controls Pakistan's nuclear weapons. This is the result of Western Empire butting in, creating countries, thinking they somehow know how to keep them under control, allowing them with their history. The reason Pakistan was even created is because they wanted all non-Muslim Indians dead. That was the reason Pakistan was even created, because Indian Muslims started killing non-Muslim Indians. What did Europe think of? Wait, we give you your own country. How do you, why would you do that? Seriously. Let the Indian government deal with it. It is none of your business. You have a split Middle East and the entire Asia basically into your own desired mapping. But when you give a country to a mindset, cultural mindset of a bunch of people who will stop at nothing to kill non-Muslims, you think you can control them? And then on top of that, you let them go build 170 nuclear weapons, bombs? Now today, we got an issue because Pakistani military can decide to just use nuclear bomb. And give me a reason why they wouldn't. Right now, again, the negotiation, I don't know if you saw that or not. Nobody reports on this kind of stuff apparently, but I did it on my page. Afghanistan and Pakistan, a few weeks ago, their border lit up, started. Then they had a temporary ceasefire to negotiate terms. Friday, negotiation failed. They came to a dead end, went back to fighting. And this amendment was added the day they decided to go back fighting. You have Taliban on one end of the border, funded by America. And then you have at the other end, you have the Pakistanis with a military with full access to nuclear weapon now. What could possibly go wrong? Nothing. Because they're good people, because they are God-fearing, because they are very peaceful. Both end practice the most peaceful religion known to mankind. I couldn't. I tried to do that with a straight face. Sorry, just trying to read that comment. Oh, thank you. How do I say your... Okay, V8M on YouTube. Thanks for reminding me. You are correct. Thank you. You know, one of the proud... I have stopped 8 wars. You do read... I forgot, but V8M on YouTube just remind me. One of them was when Trump stepped in. Oh, hi, Emma. And stopped India from damaging Pakistan's nuclear recently. Remember when India and Pakistan were going at it and said, I stopped the nuclear war. There was no nuclear war. India was trying to get rid of Pakistan's nuclear weapons. And Trump stopped it. Thank you. I can't believe I forgot that. There is so much to remember as far as enabling and disabling and saving Muslims over non-Muslims in the Middle East by Trump. It's hard to keep track. Anyhow. So that's where we're at. Like, you take a glance at that side. Again, I bring it back home. My fellow Americans, as you celebrate I don't know what, as you proudly say the alternative would be worse, just how? Like at this point, how could alternative be worse? We would be silenced. We meaning people like me. It's not like I got much of a voice. The shadow banning on Rumble, the pro-conservative platform, I literally had people tell me that I go to your direct link and I still can't watch your show on Rumble. X, I can't even post on X anymore. So, seems like no matter which side is in power, somebody's going to get shadow banned and censored, depending on whose ego you're boosting. But as you celebrate whatever it is you celebrate, number one, don't put your guard down. As much as you think Trump has made America much safer, that is an illusion that when it bursts, and if you're not ready, it's gonna knock you, you know. So don't put your guard down. Secondly, if you don't want to come out and admit that Trump administration currently is aiding the Islamist and jihadist, that's all right. However, do not defend their action either, because you are putting lies out there. You are flat out lying to your own people, to your fellow Americans. You're lying when you tell them, oh, trust me, he knows what he's doing. Because we both know he doesn't know what he's doing when it comes to securing our safety here in America. Stop believing in this non-existence plan that is going to work for us Americans. And we ran out of time. The whole, well, he's fixing Biden's this and he's fixing Biden's that and he's fixing that. It's been 11 months. And again, I'm actually amazed. You know, I'm Middle Eastern, given Iranian, right? I'm bothered by the amount of investment of time, energy, policy, all that he's putting into Middle East. How can you as Americans not be? How are you okay that instead of putting this time into fixing what's broken here in America, he's spending it over there? Again, physically traveling. Somebody had the most amazing comment, which I'm going to be honest with you, I did laugh because I felt like if I don't laugh, I'm going to cry. And the comment was, why do we have to always go there? This time we're going to fly al-Shara to DC. Like, how badly do you run out of excuses to cover up for Trump's action that your excuse is Trump has traveled to Middle East too much already. It's time for al-Shara to come. This isn't a Christmas party. It's not a Thanksgiving dinner, bro. You don't invite jihadists into our country, into our Capitol Hill, or to our White House. And again, because I saw the reaction by Republicans toward Obama, I can sit here and say you're a bunch of hypocrites. Because when Obama did it with Muslim Brotherhood, as I broke down the whole legal terms and the crime and level of it, you guys were, woo. That was the time that I had hopes that, yes, with this much understanding of danger, we can win this. What I failed to understand is the knowledge only applies to the opposition. If my guy does it, absolutely part of plan. If the other guy does it, then it's not acceptable. That's one thing I failed to understand back then, but today I do. Today I understand America is going to be split between the socialist, communist, and Islamist because the selective outrage is the motto. Because we don't criticize people we trust. Because America hasn't learned after all these years, after all the betrayals, after all the stunts, that there is no such a thing as perfect candidate to run the country. That is why our founding fathers put that in our hands as we the people, not one man running it. So the selective outrage will not end. Don't get me wrong, I'm not doing all of this today. 1 second. You gotta step down, Mama. You're stopping the fan. There you go. I'm almost done here. Apologize. I didn't do this long show today because I'm like, oh, we're going to get off air and 9 out of 10 people of my audience are going to say, stop the selective outrage. We're going to go in. That's not, I don't do delusion. I don't do false hope. I do behavioral pattern. And behavioral pattern has proven that Republicans will stay Republicans. Democrats are going to stay Democrats. Jay Jones is a perfect example. The guy stands there and says, I want to put a bullet in my opponent's head and his entire family, and they still vote for him. Right? It's that they want to belong. There are some of us in middle of the road, they either call ourselves constitutionalists, independent, whatever you want to call us. I call us Americans. We put American values, American safety, American Constitution first. My loyalty isn't with one person or two or an administration or a character of alphabet. My loyalty is with America and its Constitution. Why? Because it saved me. It wasn't a certain administration that saved me. It was the foundation of America that saved me. And it can still save many other. But it needs to save itself first. And with its citizens not loving her enough to stand up for her, they stand up for their guy, for their party, their side of aisle. They don't stand up for her. Because every party, every side of aisle has created this illusion that she's important because of them. And we the people have believed that the importance of America is because of our party. We somehow, somewhere down the road, we forgot that with or without any of these parties, America's foundation exists. And it is the most unique one there is out there. That's why it's heavily under attack from inside and outside and from within. And again, I'm not expecting any of that to change because you guys are always worried about the alternative. You have forgotten that the future of this country is made today by learning from yesterday, right? That's how it should be. I made a correction on one of my events from a speaker before me who said, politicians affect policies, policies affect people. And I said, you got that wrong. In America, uniquely, people affect policies, policies affect politicians, but darn it, my fellow Americans have forgotten that. They have forgotten that. You actually think politicians should make the difference. You think politicians should affect how we live life. It's reverse. Read the Constitution. Read the Declaration of Independence. Again, I'm pretty sure you won't. We're all, me and my audience, we're at the age that if we were going to do that, we would have done it by now. But I wanted to make sure, first of all, to put everything out as far as El Shara goes. So a year from today, I can say Though there was a time in my life I didn't like saying I told you so or I warned you, but it's becoming kind of my favorite line. I told you and I warned you. So that's number one. Secondly, I wanted to share with you and warn you again that the fall of America is on your hands. Not Trump's, not Biden, not Hexet, not Rubio, not Bush, not Obama. Your hands. If you don't come to realize, one, what America is. You have all forgotten what America is. You have. You have allowed this circle of PR to delude the idea of America for you. And sometimes us, the immigrants, need to shake you back into reality of what America is. The uniqueness blends away because you didn't come from outside to see the uniqueness, right? It's always been, this is your norm. Those of us coming from outside need to remind you the uniqueness of this country. You will not find it anywhere else, and nobody else is going to create one like it. Now, again, it's up to you. I started this show by saying if your faith in Trump is higher than your faith in Christ and your love for Trump is greater than your love for America, don't watch the show. Because mine isn't. I have proven, though many of you are recently saying I should be deported and sent back to where I come from, I have proven through action, daily action of 10 years, I've proven my love for America. So I get to lecture you on it. I do. And I have not put my faith in anyone except Christ for the last 8 years since I came to know him. But the question is, how many Americans are willing to stop their hatred for the other party and their hatred for the neighbor who has the LGBTQ flag and their hatred for that guy who voted for the... When are you going to end that? And today, as I speak to you, I can't say Democrats are the only one hating. From what I have faced from Trump supporters in the last 5 months of my life, both sides equally know how to hate, and they are not shy from hating same level from each other. Same level. And that's the thing. As long as the division in this country is based on hate, which is by design, the conquering of this country will not be that hard at all. It's actually pretty easy. Final words. Cursed is the man who trusts in man. Amen, Zelda. Thank you, John. I appreciate you as well. Okay. I have about a minute or less to wrap this up. So let me do this. For those of you who actually stayed with me for 2 full hours, I appreciate you. For those of you who like to support what I do, and this is not me, that's not a tooth in my own horn, but I do make reports that you don't genuinely find anywhere else because not enough people have the I don't care what you think of me attitude like me. So they sugarcoat things, they hide things, and they don't have the ability of translation that I do. So if you like to support what I do, today's the 10th. We have 20 days to gain 26 more paid subscribers on my Substack. I'm very active there. It will be worth your money. liveuptofreedom.substack.com. liveuptofreedom.substack.com is where you can become a paid subscriber. Also, my artist studio, lutfstudio.com. For those of you who have been making purchases, I'm grateful. For those of you who take the extra time to write reviews, they are extremely helpful. It boosts my store on Etsy search itself. lutfstudio.com. lutfstudio.com. Use promo code MISSION. Our next sale will start, I think, November 25th until December 2nd for Black Friday and Cyber Monday on 25% off across the store. But if you want to wait until then, I can guarantee on time shipping or receiving, more like it. However, these are the two best ways you can support me. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I will be back to my normal regular hour tomorrow. Just 1 hour show. 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Central Time. Until then, keep an eye on what is happening at the White House. And tomorrow morning, check out my Substack. I'm going to have a lot of short, quick notes of report. And I am excited to see you tomorrow, hopefully with less yelling and screaming. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
I'll tell you one little quick story. We had a Worldview Weekend client who lived in California, lost their house. Very wealthy guy. He didn't use Bitcoin. He came over here, drove to Arizona with $286,000 worth of his gold because he had no money and no house available. His bank was shut down because he couldn't have access to his bank account.
Was this during the fire? Was this during the fires?
During the fire. Didn't have his driver's license. He lost it. The state wouldn't give him a new license because he had no active mailing address. Real mess. So he came to Arizona to buy a house. He's moving everything over. He said, the only thing I got in my possession that I can get liquid with right now is my gold. I gave him a check for $286,000, and guess what? I didn't need his social, his driver's license. Sort of smiled, and I said, you know, I know you and Brandon talked about how this worked, but boy, this is great. I feel good. I got my money. Nobody bothered me, and I'm protected, and it's private. So you people out there who are sitting on your hands when Wes and I are sending you these requests and Brandon and you are talking to you, you better get active because you're going to pay me $4,000 an ounce the end of the year. Trust me.
You better get your. I highly suggest you get your free packet. You don't have to do anything. It's free, no obligation. Just simply go to worldviewgold.com, fill out the form, worldviewgold.com, or just text Wes and give him your name and address and say, I want the free packet. That's all you got to do. 602